Good evening. It is Monday, September 24th, and I call the Maple Plains City Council meeting to order. Please stand and join us in the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm looking for a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Cahill,
Second.
second by Broda. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. First item of business is our consent agenda. Looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mayor, may I pull, before we get a motion, can I pull accounts payable for 3 quick questions?
Yes, you may. Okay, looking for a motion to approve consent agendas letter B, C, and D.
So moved.
Moved by Broda,
Second.
second by DeLuca. Any discussion? All in favor of approving B, C, and D of the consent agenda?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. With that, Councilmember Fay, you had questions on accounts payable.
Yes. Bobby, 3 quick questions.
Yeah.
League of Minnesota Cities, is that dues?
Look at it real quick.
I just don't recall seeing I don't ever recall seeing.
Yeah, we have an annual due we have to pay to be a part of the Minnesota League of Cities.
Is that 2018 and 2019, or is that
It's
for
like
this year?
yeah, it's pretty much they don't. It's not a calendar year type thing, so it's like
Okay.
September.
But
to
it's just,
September.
their annual.
Yep, their annual fee.
Okay.
Correct.
Maple Plain Fire, Independence Fire.
Yep.
Is that a clerical error?
Yeah, I'll have to look at that. Yep.
Because we're up over $16,000.
Yep.
Okay. And then one more, and that would be the tree removal on Bryant. Is that similar to the Main Street trees? So it was a safety
Yeah,
hazard?
we had some trees in the right of way that it was a safety issue, so staff took it upon themselves to get it taken care of. As
2
much
trees?
as I
They
hate,
must have been big trees.
yeah, no, I think it might have been 3 trees.
Okay.
I'll have to look, but yeah, no, we didn't de-stump them or anything. We handled it just how we did with the Main Street project there. Yeah.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for that update. So with that, looking for a motion to approve accounts payable.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilmember Fay,
Second.
second by Councilmember Cahill. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Next item of business is our administrative reports, and tonight we will start with our city engineer.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. In your packet is our monthly report, and some of the major items that we worked on this last month are the 2018 street and utility improvements. That project right now is finishing up water main on Howard, and then they'll go to services on Howard, and then eventually move to storm sewer, and then the street construction on Howard. And while they're working on the street on Howard, they'll be going to utilities on Independence. So they continue to, in between rain, they start working again on digging and getting that work completed. We did work with staff this last month on some various updates, and there is a kind of a public gathering tomorrow night on the preliminary assessment for the project. So we'll be talking with the public on how that is calculated and getting any final questions from them related to those items. Some of the other work, we worked with the city planner on Northside Park with some figure drawings that you looked at earlier tonight, helping on some comprehensive plan figure drawings that will be part of a open house tomorrow night. And we attended some meetings related to some water main kind of abandonment at American Custom Rotomolding. So with that, I'll answer any questions that council may have.
Any questions for engineer? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from our city planner.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, Council, for the month of September, end of August into September. A couple of the highlights, we were working on the downtown redevelopment project. Bobby and I had a meeting with the downtown developer, kind of talk process and status of that project, and had some correspondence with the developer relating to that. And then similar to Dan's report, I was working on the Veterans Plaza Memorial in the park, as well as working with staff on putting together information for the comprehensive plan open house, which is tomorrow night, to go over, to let people have an opportunity to comment on the comprehensive plan. So outside of that, we have talked, and we talked earlier tonight about some of the nuisance issues in the city that we're also working on, just to follow up on and ensure compliance with our ordinances. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mark or Planner?
All right, thank you.
With that, we'll hear next from our Director of Public Safety.
Honorable Mayor and council members, thank you for having me this evening. Before you is the August 2018 activity report. Through August, we've handled a total of 5,146 incident complaints, 2,776 in Independence, and 2,037 in Maple Plain. For the month of August, 353 of those incidents were in Independence and 288 were in Maple Plain. I'll highlight a few cases for the month of August, and if you have any questions, we can go over some of the other ones. On August 7th, at 6:19 p.m., we were called to Highway 12 and Baker Park Road for a elderly male person walking down Highway 12, slunched over a walker. Our officers responded to that location and found out that the male was 55, but had some physical limitations, and he had a doctor's appointment in Minneapolis. And from that doctor's appointment, he had to go again the next day. He found the cheapest motel was Maple Plain, so he took a bus from Minneapolis to the park and ride in Maple Plain, and then proceeded to walk down Highway 12 with a walker to try to see if there was vacancy at the Maple Plain Motel. Our officers arrived, and obviously he physically couldn't make it, and so we helped him out, put him in the squad car, drove him to the motel. They had no vacancies, so he's kind of stuck in this quandary. So we checked with the Delano motel that they have there, hotel, and we were able to find that he had a vacancy there. We drove him there, and we were able to get him a room for the night. Don't know how he got back to his next doctor's appointment, because there is no bus service from Delano to Maple Plain, but we're hoping that he had some assistance for that. August 8th, we had a call in the 5200 block of Bryantwood Drive. Just kind of a typical call for us of mental crisis, people having depression, texting. People, when they get depressed, tend to text things to their friends that they're suicidal, they don't want to live. In this particular case, that was happening to a 29-year-old female. We happened to arrive at her home and found her sleeping on a chair outside, and she happened to have a marijuana pipe in her hand when we arrived, and we were able to get her to wake up. She did admit to feeling depressed and sending those messages that she wanted to harm herself, so she was taken to North Memorial for on a hold. I bring this up because there was 4 children in the apartment, and we were able to get a hold of the father, and the father was able to take custody of those children. So sometimes the unattended victims in those situations are the children as well. August 15th, I kind of want to go over this case in length. It's an attempted theft, motor vehicle tampering. So it's in about 230 in the 700 block of Copeland Road in Independence, Pioneer Creek Golf Course. So our golf courses that we've had in Independence and around the area have been having daytime break-ins where people are going in and stealing golf clubs. So Pioneer Creek Golf had that a month earlier. Windsong had the same thing. Other golf courses around the area have been having that. And we had a really good vehicle description of it, and actually had photos from our incident at Pioneer Creek a month earlier. That led to a lead of, we identified the suspect. So we were kind of doing surveillance on his home, trying to catch him in the act. Just by pure chance, he had went on vacation with his family for 2 weeks, and that time frame we couldn't find him. Comes back from vacation, and right away, this August 15th, 2:30, he goes broad daylight and tries and break into 2 vehicles at the golf course, setting off the alarm at 1. This golf course parking lot is packed, and he's digging through people's vehicles, trying to break in. Alarm goes off. Staff recognizes the suspect vehicle, calls us immediately. We get there. Myself, the investigator, and two of our patrol officers were working. Just couldn't find the vehicle, so we kind of widened the search, thinking he's going to go to a different golf course. We drove around golf courses in Carver County, Bees on the River, and our investigator happened to be driving by Bees on the River and saw the suspect breaking into another vehicle at the time. The ironic part is, prior to our investigators seeing him break into that in Bees on the River, he actually came back and broke into two more vehicles after the initial first report. So he broke into two vehicles, left, came back, broke into two more vehicles, then went to Bees on the River. And we proceeded to kind of surveil him throughout Delano and throughout the area. He made our investigator in his vehicle, so he parked at the Dairy Queen in Delano. I switched locations with our investigator. As soon as we switched, he took off again. I ended up following him on Highway 12. He was all over the road. He opened up his door at one point and vomited all over the highway. Pulled off into the American Legion and began to urinate in the parking lot. He was intoxicated. So not only was he stealing golf clubs, but he was drunk, a .19 on the road. So we arrested him for the driving while intoxicated. Come back to the office. Provides no information on the golf clubs. We did a warrant of his home in Delano, and we located our stolen golf clubs. So he is going to be charged with the third-degree DWI refusal and possession of stolen property of the golf clubs through Wright County. It's a big case for us, just kind of all fell together, and just teamwork. Didn't matter which county or where we were at, just working together to get this person in custody. August 20th, the 3000 block, County Road 90. I bring this up because it's kind of, I think it's comical. Maybe other people don't think so, but so we got a resident in Independence calling us saying that there's a female in their backyard trying to get into a shed in their backyard, and she's looking at her phone, and it turns out that this female believed her husband having some trust issues. His GPS tracker on his phone showed him in that shed, so she walked onto the property trying to find her husband. He wasn't there, and we got a description of the vehicle. We ended up finding that vehicle in the 5000 block of Pioneer Creek Drive, and she was again doing the same thing, trying to locate her husband on the tracker. Found out her husband was in the 1500 block of Bud Street in Maple Plain, and we had kind of mediated the situation, and the two of them can work on the relationship when they get home, I guess. But GPS tracking, I guess that's anybody can be followed. August 21st, suspicious act, illegal dumping. This is kind of, we've been working with the city of Maple Plain Public Works and Bobby on trying to keep people out of the Maple Plain compost site who don't belong there. Namely, it's only for Maple Plain residents. In this particular case, we had a 63-year-old male from Independence. He goes to the compost on a regular basis. He didn't check to see if Independence had a compost site, and he's been dumping there. He said he didn't want to burn at his house because it would wreck his yard, so he's been bringing his brush there. We're working with Public Works in the city to try to curtail this so this stops, but I don't know that we can prevent everybody at every time going in there unless there's somebody on site. So the camera is back up. For those that are watching on the audience, the camera's back up. We're looking at license plates and seeing who's supposed to be there. I know we did a local landscape company has been dumping a lot in there, and I spoke with them and said it's not for their use. They felt that their taxes, they should be able to dump in there. So I think we're seeing a substantial reduction in the amount of stuff that's going in there since that conversation I had a couple weeks ago. Obviously, you guys don't want landscapers that are for hire taking material and dumping it into the public compost sites. So that's kind of what we're trying to do and educate our residents and other residents around us. August 27th, we had a burglary theft case at 5300 block Pioneer Creek Drive. We have a boat storage company there. Somebody broken into a fenced-in area and stole almost $20,000 worth of stereo equipment out of two boats that had been stored there most of the summer. We did have Crime Lab respond and take DNA samples from the area, and we'll see if we get any matches or hits on that. And then August 30th, County Road 19 and Saddle Ridge Trail in Independence, our fire department and us were dispatched to a bicycle rider on the side of the road that was unconscious and not breathing. We responded and found that May Plain Fire was already on scene taking care of the person. They were conscious now and breathing, but unfortunately highly intoxicated riding their bike before they fell. A .23 alcohol concentration on their bicycle driving down County Road 19. So we were able to get them to the hospital and get the assistance that they needed. Other than that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have in regards to the activity report.
Any questions or comments for the chief?
I have just a quick question. I know we had kind of that string of the car thefts. Are we still seeing a lot of them happening in the area?
Not right now. What we've seen in the last few days is we've seen a lot of mailbox vandalism. So we have I think 27 of them we had last night. Kids going around or people or damaging with baseball bats or golf clubs. That's kind of going on. It kind of ebbs and flows, with it, but it seems like it's gotten a little bit better on the vehicle break-ins.
Thank you.
With that, next we'll have the Public Works September report.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and City Council. Here are some items that Public Works has been working on during the month of August. They installed a bench at Bryantwood Park, which will be for the Steve Rose Memorial, which is this Saturday at 10:30 a.m. So if you're able to attend and you remember Steve and all the wonderful things he brought to the community, please feel free to attend that 10:30 Saturday morning in Bryantwood Park. Public Works has also been prepping the Rainbow Park rink for winter ice. Believe it or not, we are only a few months away from another wonderful Minnesota winter. So right now they were able to get new tires on their F-150 pickup, which were badly needed. They've been working on the water treatment plant generator. Some of their generator transfer switch items with Interstate Power. Over the last few months, we've lost power within the city for an hour or a couple hours, and then we have to switch over to our generators in our water treatment plant, and that's one thing that we really want to work. Otherwise, we're in trouble there. So always spending precautionary, making sure that these generators work. Because if we're out of power, we need the treatment plant to still be operational. They've started the process in the F-150 and F-350 replacements. Obviously, after quite some time, we need to start looking at replacing some equipment. Of course, this would go before City Council for any approval on any of this equipment specifically. They're working with Northdale Construction and Stantec on the Howard and Independence Street reconstruction project that's currently going on. They restocked some materials, sand, rock, CLS7 materials. For instance, we've been using a lot of materials on Drake Street during this reconstruction project, trying to temporarily fill in some of the potholes until the project is complete, so that we can do a proper asphalt patching of the street after the project is done. They had water treatment plant tank inspections. They've been doing some work on the Rainbow Park bathroom / warming house and north side bathroom / concession regarding some lighting. They started working with American Rotomolding for their cross connection disconnection, which is a pretty prominent deal. I know Dan mentioned it in his report, and I as well. We met with American Rotomolding last week. They have some. We have some work that we need to complete with them regarding some water connection issues down there that we're dealing with at this time. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions pertaining to the Public Works report.
I have one.
Yeah.
So with regards to looking at the process, beginning the process for replacing the F-150 and the
Yep.
F-350, is there a timeline for those? And are
It
those
takes
already in our budget?
time. It's not something that we budget, but we have money set aside for. So it's not in an annual operating budget, but we do have a specific fund, equipment replacement fund, that is funded to replace these vehicles. So
And there's enough in there to look at both of those?
Correct.
Right now?
Yep.
Okay.
correct.
Any other questions or comments regarding the Public Works report? All right, thank you. With that, we'll look back to Bobby for the city administrator,
Thank you.
administration.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and City Council. Staff has been working this past September on the following. Staff continuing to work on potential development opportunities throughout the city. Believe it or not, there are new ones month to month. It's not just the same one. So hopefully we get a few to hit here. That'd be great. We're working on the 2040 comprehensive plan along with Mark, as he mentioned in his report. We do have a open house tomorrow evening for that. Staff is working on the Howard Avenue and Independence Street assessments, as well as the project in general. One thing I do want to make note of that is really interesting is on the city's Facebook page, and Nicole did this, is so there was a wonderful picture being taken of some of the residents on Howard Avenue. There was a big rock that was in the middle of the street during the work. It's a real nice rock. It's quite large, about the size of maybe one of these tables, and they were able to dig that up, power wash it off, and put it in a resident's front yard that they really wanted this rock. And it was really cool. The residents on Howard Avenue then decided to buy donuts and coffee for the construction workers, and they called it the Howard Rock Cafe.
And made a
So
sign.
and they
They
made a
even
sign.
They're very proud of it.
And I thought that was great that that we've got residents that are that wonderful that it just speaks volumes about the city of Maple Plain and being a small town, and that small town charm is. I'm pretty positive when I say that these Northdale construction workers don't get this kind of treatment from residents in all the communities that they do this kind of work. So I find that speaks volumes about our community, and that's a great deal there. So staff is working on code enforcement and city blight around town. We're also working on some conditional use permit enforcement. Staff is also preparing for the 2018 general election, which is coming up in November here. And staff is looking at redesigning the compost site completely. And staff is working on Northside Park cost analysis with renderings for future park improvements. As you can see, we're getting those drawings put together, obviously, and then hopefully moving forward sometime in the spring, getting a project going next year sometime. So that's kind of what staff has been working on. If from administration, and if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions or comments?
Bobby, not a question, a comment.
Yeah.
I went and looked at the progress today prior to tonight's meeting.
Yeah.
And ran into a resident on Independence, and she unsolicited mentioned that Northdale has been just great to work with. So
That's
I think we picked a winner there.
Yeah, I tell you what, during any kind of street reconstruction project, it's very common for us to get questions, and we still do get questions, and that's what we want. We want the residents to be informed, but none of these questions have been negative towards our contractors that we've been going with Northdale, and that's a real good sign, because we've had it in the past where it's gone the opposite way, and that's a lot less pleasant. It's very unpleasant. So, yeah, I'm happy about that too.
Will Howard Rock Cafe remain open after construction?
I don't know the hours. I tried to find the website, but
Gotta look on Yelp.
yeah, there might be some Yelp reviews,
All right.
but I'm not sure.
All right, so with that, I am looking for a motion to approve and accept all of the administrative reports A through E.
So moved.
Moved by DeLuca,
Second?
second by Cahill. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, we accept all the reports. New business this evening. We'll start with letter A, Resolution 18-0924-01, a resolution approving the 2019 preliminary levy.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and City Council. This resolution here is mandated that we approve a preliminary levy by the end of September and sent into the county. What this levy means is obviously it has to do with the taxation of the Maple Plain residents and going forward and setting our budget in 2019. Once this levy is set by the end of September, whether it's this or there's a change or a question by a city council member, the levy cannot go up. It can go down from now until December, but it cannot go up. The levy that you have before you, this resolution, has been talked about in city council budget workshops. and has been discussed with City Council pertaining to the goals and objectives that the city would like to accomplish in 2019, and prioritizes where we spend the resources that we're able to get from the community to provide services to the community. And what you have here, I think, is a very responsible levy. We're looking at a general fund that has a 0.52% increase, which is about $6,427. And we're looking at an overall total city levy that is actually going to go down $11,690, or negative 0.79%. So this levy would be set for the 2019 budget, and that's a fiscal year from January to December. Again, if this is approved tonight, it could not go up, but can continue to go down if that is something that we find that we are able to do there. But a lot of work was put in by City Council and staff to make sure that we remain good stewards of the taxing authority that is upon the City Council. And anytime you have a levy that goes down, you're sending the message that obviously this is a elected body that really cares about where we are spending our dollars, and we're doing a good job doing that, making sure every dollar goes as far as possible. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. There's only one thing that I see that is really bothering me, and that is the fact in the first box on the very first page, it should say 2019, not 2018 budget there.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm looking at the remaining part of it, and it doesn't look too bad. There might be a few 2018s that should be 19s, but those will be changed prior to being sent into the county. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? And again, I just want to echo our administrator, kudos to the staff and to the council. It was very respectful discussion and hard work on everyone's part. So with that, it is a resolution, so we will have a roll call. Oh, we need a motion.
I move we approve this resolution with the updated years, as you said.
Okay, motion by Broda, looking for a second.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Fay. With that, we'll have a roll call vote.
Councilmember Cahill.
Aye.
Councilmember Fay.
Aye.
Councilmember DeLuca.
Aye.
Mayor Moskowski.
Aye.
Councilmember Broda.
Aye.
The ayes have it 5-0.
All right. And our next item of business is another resolution, Resolution 18-0924-02. A resolution establishing standards and guidelines in the matter of hardship assessment deferrals.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and City Council. As the community is aware that lives on Howard and Independence Street, where there's being construction work, unfortunately, when we do construction projects, we have to set an assessment on the residents. And this resolution is not to approve any assessments, but it is to set a standard at which a resident could defer that assessment. We do have an open house tomorrow, specifically addressing some of the numbers of these assessments. But this resolution sets aside criteria for residents that could defer that assessment. And so any resident has to prove that they have financial hardship with this assessment that would be coming down the line, and one of these criteria points. And that would be a property owner who is 65 years of age or older, a property owner who is retired by virtue of a permanent and total disability as determined by the Social Security Administration, or a property owner who is a member of the Minnesota National Guard or other military reserves who is ordered into active military service as defined by Minnesota State Statute 190.05 subdivision 5B or 5C as stated in the person's military orders. That has to occur there. That's what this resolution is about, is specific to this project, Independence and Howard Avenue. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions pertaining to a resolution around assessment deferrals due to hardship.
I have one quick question.
Yeah.
Last year for the Bud Street,
Correct.
we put together the same resolution, the hardship resolution. Has anything changed in this
No.
resolution? Okay, so it's verbatim.
This is the same standard we are keeping
Okay.
as we had for the Bud. There's only one difference, actually, I have to say that. And I believe the interest rate is different, and that's due to the fact of what we had with bonding that came back. So the interest rate is different on this resolution. It's at 4.75% per year, and that's due to the fact that we had a different interest rate that came in for the Bud project, as we did to the Howard project in Independence Street project. So that is the one change in here.
And will this need to be passed every time we do a project then?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of different ways of doing it. We've been doing it where we've been passing it every project. We could set a resolution that covers all future projects and leave the leeway of saying, change the, set the interest rate off of this criteria that we have been doing. But otherwise, you're able to approve a resolution every project.
No,
so.
I would prefer that because interest rates change, councils change. I'd rather it be
Sure.
concurrent. So.
Any other questions? All right, with that, we are looking for a motion to approve Resolution 18-0924-02, a resolution establishing standards and guidelines in the matter of hardship assessment deferrals.
So moved?
Moved by Cahill,
Second?
second by DeLuca, and we have a roll call.
Councilmember Fay.
Aye.
Councilmember DeLuca.
Aye.
Mayor Moskowski.
Aye.
Councilmember Broda.
Aye.
Councilmember Cahill.
Aye.
The ayes have it 5-0.
Our next item of business this evening is to set a date for the 2018 Street and Utility Improvement Assessment Hearing.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As part of, the meeting tomorrow where we kind of will explain the special benefit analysis, kind of where we're seeing the assessments coming out with the property owners. The council eventually has to have a final assessment hearing with the public. And so we're looking at setting that tonight for October 22nd, 2018 at 7 p.m. That'll give the council time to discuss it with the public that night. If you decide you want to continue the meeting, it gives you some options on that also. So staff is recommending the council pass that motion tonight.
And that is on Monday evening?
That'd
Yes.
be part of the general
Yeah.
business
Yes.
meeting? Okay.
Yep, that would be a part of our normal scheduled fourth Monday business meeting.
I make the motion we approve that date and time.
Second?
Just for discussion, the fourth Monday is October 29th. This is the third Monday.
Well, then we should change it
No,
to.
I believe
Uh,
that's the
I
fourth.
think it is the
22nd.
Yeah, first is a Monday.
29th's a fifth.
Oh, so there's 5 Mondays.
Right.
Yeah.
Counting's
Yep.
hard.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Ooh, that's
I
scary,
stand
though.
corrected. The fourth Monday is October 22nd,
Yeah.
and we have a motion, right?
Yeah. Hopefully that was complete enough.
Yes.
Date and time for this specific meeting.
Okay,
Okay,
a
you
motion.
got it.
Yeah, we
Deal.
got it, October 22nd.
All right, so with that, looking to approve the 2018 Street and Utility Improvement Assessment Hearing for our council meeting on October 22nd. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, our next item of business is motion to remove 2018 conditional use permit application for Collision Corner.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and City Council. Tonight, no action needs to be taken on this item, as Collision Corner has submitted a letter in writing stating that they are removing their application for the conditional use permit. I know the conversations I've had with them, it's due to a financial matter that they've taken, that there's a way to replace their paint booth maybe in a similar fashion that they had it prior to without building the building. They're not quite sure yet how that's going to go about. They may apply in the future again for a similar conditional use permit that was shared with council a few months ago, but at this time they are wishing to remove that conditional use permit application, and they've done so in writing, so no action needs to be taken by City Council. Just a little history on how we got here. So they did apply for a conditional use permit would have been way back in, I think, March or April. And it went to Planning Commission, and then, as a typical application does do, it goes from Planning Commission to City Council. City Council did hear from the Planning Commission and their recommendations. Michelle and Kurt were present. Mark did a wonderful job presenting his report on the site. And Michelle and Kurt at the time wished to postpone taking action on that. The city used, that we're able to extend it another 60 days, I believe. And we did do that, and they were not yet ready to take action on that conditional use permit. When I say they, I mean Kurt and Michelle. So for the last 2 months, they've provided written, a written extension that they're able to do, but the city is no longer able to extend a application. So Michelle and Kurt themselves did provide that written extension twice for 30 days. Both times they did not want to take action yet on that conditional use permit, and then today they were able to provide a written letter that is in front of me that states that they are withdrawing their application completely. So that's how we got here. With that, it's not a discussion for topic or action tonight. That's really where it's at.
I just want to make clear
Yep.
to the public that the time that staff spent on this was paid for. There wasn't any
Correct.
reimbursement
Yep.
fees. Okay.
Yep. So when you submit to go through a conditional use permit, you pay 2 fees. One is a application fee, which is really, this is the fee to do it. So we're getting, right applications that aren't just out there, not wasting our time and resources. And then there's also an escrow check that we collect for staff time. Staff has spent considerable amounts of time on this project, from all of staff, myself, Mark, John, Dan, Gary's provided some input too as well. So I mean, yeah, those resources, luckily we do have funds to reimburse staff time for that, yes.
Thank you. All right. And you said we do not need a motion.
We do not
That was
need
just
any action.
information.
Yep.
So we know
Just
where we're
info.
at. Thank you. And with that, that covers new business this evening. We will go to council reports and other business. Councilmember Broda.
I have nothing additional to report for this month, so
Wow.
that's good, I guess.
All right, thank you. Councilmember DeLuca?
No report.
Councilmember Fay?
It's funny, it's been a light week, or a light month with 2 cancellations of meetings that I was supposed to attend. But I didn't get an opportunity to do this during the levy discussion, but I wanted to thank you, Bobby, and the rest of council for what we did in our budget discussions. I think we all came prepared. We worked collaboratively, came up with a budget that I think we can be proud of. I think the residents will be proud of it, and I can assure you that every neighboring city is going to be envious. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Councilmember Cahill?
Quiet month, meetings are canceled, I have nothing to
You
report.
do?
Wow. All right, I guess I will be the one talking. Highway 12, we met, and I just want to invite everyone to the open house at the City of Independence on Tuesday, October 2nd. They will be sharing planned projects to improve Highway 12 safety, in particular County Road 90. That will be happening again October 2nd from 4:30 to 6:30 at Independence City Hall. The West Hennepin Chamber of Commerce met, and we had the privilege of hearing from both our fire chief and our police chief, and a remembrance of 9/11 and a high overview. So we are very fortunate, as we all already know, to have the public safety and services that we do. So thank you for that continued service. And also attended the Trails to Libraries meeting, as they are trying to get engaged with our community and different ways to become involved and keep up with what's going on. So a segue to that was I invited them to our comp plan meeting tomorrow evening, which we hope to see many of you at 6 p.m. right here in this room, because we want you all to be engaged. So any other reports or business from anyone else? All right, with that, no visitors to be heard. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Moved by Councilmember DeLuca,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Broda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The meeting is adjourned at 7:44.
Hit that guy.
You know I want to.